Oh, so
Yep, we'll do it live. Heyo, I fucking got into it. It's already going disastrously, but this is the 2/3 of the podcast are on the damn phone podcast. Anyway, the I didn't really put make notes for this. Even my dad actually recommended that I do that, but for now I'm gonna start by thinking if anything interesting happened during anyone's week.
I don't know. Some kid threw a marker at my math teacher. I mean, that's the highlight of my week, really.
um,
Reporting for duty. For these veterans, growing pot isn't just a job; it's a cost. From BuzzFeed.
I haven't. No one actually messes with teachers at my school. It's not something that happens.
Really?
Yeah, actually, no, that's not true. That's not true at all.
Oh no, because our math teacher, he's like the most hated teacher in the school. Literally, no student in any of his classes like him. Every student in his class collectively agrees he's the worst teacher in school.
Christ.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'd agree, he's terrible at teaching. The only way he teaches is just going into the math textbook and just reading us stuff we could have read ourselves. He doesn't actually teach us anything, really. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
So, how's your school, Buggo?
The school currently, I'm not having a great time in the 10th grade.
Well, you're in 10th grade?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You sound way older than me.
Currently, I'm thinking of if there's anything terribly interesting about it other than it just could be going better in general. And it's I don't like my science teacher, but I do know that she has some of the worst students as well, so I get why she is the way she is.
How would you rate your school as a whole, out of 10? Well, not out of 10. Say, how would you describe your school? Would you say it's
My school is a school that it's actually it's quite a bit better than a lot of other schools. It has a lot of pretty well put together, not completely tacky clubs, and it our sporting teams are fairly well respected, and a lot of the teachers are really good. My ninth grade year was really good.
Speaking of students, I think around 2 weeks ago, it was right after the Las Vegas shooting at our school.
Too. I already know what you're talking about.
At our school, basically, I don't know. This may actually be an infringement of the First Amendment, but basically, these students were in a private Snapchat, convo, but somebody screenshotted it and then put it on Twitter, and then everybody and their mom retweeted it. So then they ended up finding these students and getting them suspended. So then 2 weeks after that, I think what happened was one of the kids who was in that convo was just walking down the hallway, and then this big broad black dude just runs up and just wails on him.
Okay.
And then now that kid is now being charged as an adult.
Okay. I see what you're saying about the First Amendment, but that brings up the question: should children have rights?
I'm
kidding.
Well, oh wow, how you want an actual discussion?
No. Here's the thing. I'm it's actually really weird to consider if it's a First Amendment issue if the public school does it, if the parents found it.
Yeah, the parents found it.
Because technically, if the parents found it and started punishing their kids for it, that's not First Amendment. That's just these are your parents. Yeah, because
technically you're the property of your parents, and they have a right of property. So you know.
Yeah. Vital, you've barely talked. I guess I'm in the middle of a discussion, but.
Yeah, just don't want to interrupt.
All right. But I'm trying to think of stuff that's happened at our school. Honestly, a couple weeks back, while I still didn't have access to my phone and stuff, one kid, he OD'd on Xans and had to be carried out in a stretcher in one of the hallways.
Wait, why was he taking Xans in the hallway?
I don't know. I feel like I really don't know. Like a lot of those like prescription stuff is the kind of stuff that would get like traded around at a school like mine.
I mean, mine's just a ton of snotty upper class people and then a ton of potheads. So
Right. So I tell this like story to like a lot of people, even though I probably shouldn't. But basically, it's basically my rejection story. Like the first time I asked the girl out, and basically she didn't even like tell me no. What she did is that we have this place at a school called Student Services. It's basically like where you go for detention and all that,
All
and
right.
you can also file reports for other students if they're like being mean to you or something. So she goes to Student Services and files a report on me for making her uncomfortable. So then
Christ.
there's like a whole seating change, and then I bump into her, and next thing I know, I'm in Student Services again, and they're about to assign me a detention before they realize that she not only did she over like exaggerate what I did, like she straight up just lied about it also.
Yeah.
Because she also said like I was staring at her for like 15 minutes and something like that. So basically,
This-
I had to like through this whole shenanigans. I'm already anxious and like stressed out, and I have to get my whole schedule has to get changed.
Right.
And like basically this is that was the starting point and why I realized that anime girls are actually better than real girls.
You know, I want to create like a chat bot, and whenever you talk like this, it's just going to play like a clip from an Elliot Rodger video.
That's good. That's good. That's good. But here's Elliot Rodger didn't even like anime girls though. That's the thing.
I wasn't aware of. I actually was not aware of that. I know that he like I've read some of his manifesto, and he talks scarily like me sometimes, like because
Oof.
he uses big words, but he uses them like not quite correctly,
Mm.
or used. He's dead.
I'm gonna check
Um,
his YouTube account. I want to see how Elliot Rodger is doing now.
he probably got a bunch of monkey subscribers in his comment section.
But is his YouTube account even still up? Like, I'd imagine YouTube would have taken it down after that whole incident.
I mean, you can still like find like clips of his stuff around.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, stuff that happened during my week. So for you guys that don't know, there's I used to go to a summer camp when I was younger, and they have this like volunteer job training program for people who don't want to just leave it behind. They have like other stuff for like teenagers out there, but that's like the thing that interested me most because there's kind of cred associated with it. And so they have Halloween events, and so I got to go out there and I got to scare children for a night. It's pretty good.
Oh, did you get paid?
I don't get paid. The idea is that for that they would like
It's
they'd
for
like
like the educational sense.
yeah, and they'd also reduce. If you're going to any of the other like teenagers summer events, they would like reduce the charge based on how much stuff you did. But I'm not going to any of those, so. Also, it's
Oh
just
my
full of.
god. So I'm looking at Elliot Rodger's last video. Oh, sorry. Like, go on.
Also, it's just full of really cool people because bad people would really sign up for that.
Sad thing is that I'm not really an outside person. Like, I guess you could call me an introvert. I don't go like to public events and all that. Like, if there's a dance at school, I'll avoid it at all costs. And basically that causes most of my time either masturbating to hentai or just playing video games.
Oh boy.
I try to be a little bit like more extroverted when I can. Like if there's like an event going on and I think there's some value in me being there, it's no hassle to me. I'll go to it, but usually.
Mm.
I'm gonna ask Vitality to share something about himself because actually no. Finish your point about the Elliot Rodger video.
Oh no! So apparently on Elliot Rodger's video, in one of the comments, it pretty much just shows like a Call of Duty-esque kill feed, and then at the very end it shows like an AR, then it shows Elliot Rodger mistakes were made.
All right. Anyway, Vitality
Fatality, yeah.
has
What's
anything
up?
has anything happened like in your week that's worth talking about?
What was it? I thought of something just a minute ago. Oh, come on. Okay, so I'm in this art class, right? And
In what class?
I'm in a drawing class,
Oh,
and
all
it's
right.
not really like just sketching and stuff, but we do normal art stuff too. Um, but yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm doing this portrait right now, and my teacher just walks up to me and says, you should go to university in Colorado. Okay, I don't know where that came from. Then she started going on about how, like, she would try to get me up on a scholarship for like a bachelor in fine arts. It's like, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
sure why this just came up, but all right.
Yeah. I mean, that's of all the things that can happen to you, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I get in on a scholarship, that'd be great.
I realize that I've been holding down my push to talk key instinctively, which means you probably got a lot of bullshit background noise from me.
I haven't heard anything.
All right. I like. I want to like bring into something about college from that, and I'm like, I want to go to I really want to live in Minneapolis at some point in my life, but it doesn't seem like that's really feasible at this point.
Why do you
I
want to
mean,
live in Minneapolis? Like, what's so special about it?
I really like the local music. I like I like the local hip hop scene.
Really? All right. You know one place I'd like to live?
Shoot.
6 foot under.
You
Okay, no, for real.
Have
I
fun
don't know.
with
I
that.
guess like Japan would be a nice place to live. But I don't know. Like, here's the thing: Japan's like a really xenophobic country.
Yeah.
So as much as you may like them, they really don't like you.
Japan. The other thing
And
about
unless you're working as like a voice actor for like the next Metal Gear or something, I don't think you're really gonna get a job there either.
Typically these only sort of American and like English people they respect are people who are there teaching those languages to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you need to know how to speak Japanese and English very well to do that.
So I actually
Speaking of
have family
Japan,
over there.
go on.
But
Oh, really?
yeah, I do. I'm part Dutch, and part Japanese. But I have family over there, and I was maybe planning on visiting at some point and whatnot and all that. But whatever.
Also,
So
the other thing that I really dislike about Japan is that workers like in order for to have the to be the only country with like a non-dominant communist party that's still somewhat relevant, you need to be like really bad in the opposite extreme, and Japan definitely is.
Oh yeah, because uh, like wait, what are you talking about? What do you
I'm
mean?
talking about how like a lot of people there are overworked.
yeah, it's work for
Well,
them is
expectations
basically
are high,
nonstop.
so you're an Asian country. Do you expect people to go easy on you?
This is true.
Japan.
Another thing about Japan, a lot of Nazis apparently.
Japan does have that problem, but it also has like it has a communist party that wins seats in the government every election. Like they're not like it's the biggest one that doesn't control the country it's in.
Well, I mean, I don't think the last time the communists had like a big,
Was before
like,
like they were purged by like American occupation.
or kind of, what happened. I'm trying to make a joke here that involves that commie getting like stabbed in front of a bunch of people, but I can't
Oh, I don't actually like remember what you're talking about. I knew that some like
So basically,
some leftist activist got like lynched in Japan. I know that happened.
no. This is like a long time ago. So like when the Communist Party was rising in Japan in like the 60s or something, because of, like a lot of Japanese people were pissed off at America for nuking them, which is understandable. And
To be fair,
basically,
Soviet Union was about to invade when we did that.
This is true.
granted. Yeah, then Japan wouldn't become communist and anime wouldn't exist. But
Who's to say?
well, I mean, the anime we know.
What if it didn't exist, and
Actually,
we were the
no.
ones making it.
Actually, no. Anime was like adapted from like French literature, like sort of
Yeah.
that art style. So it probably wouldn't have happened.
Wait, seriously?
What's that one?
Wait,
There's
no,
one
actually,
thing.
well, no, anime wasn't anime basically just like inspired off like Disney animation.
Anime like a lot of it was inspired by that, but like over time, like it started to take like little quirks from the way that the French used to write their cyberpunk comics,
Ah,
and like so like I'm trying to think of like a very specific example, but like the word anime is the word for cartoon in French, not Japanese.
huh. Interesting. I'm gonna confirm that.
And there's one, I forget what show it is, but it's been going on for like, it's either, it either started in the 40s or in the 60s. It's been going on since then. And I don't see how that's possible considering, once you
It,
start a show, you can't really change the animation style a whole lot.
like an animated show?
Well, it's
Honestly though,
an old
like I'd
anime.
rather have like a bunch of like similar art styles for like a lot of slow shows than have like the horrendous art styles that exist in like modern day Western animation.
I feel like the sort of thing about modern day Western animation is like not it's not even like it's the worst it's ever been. There's plenty of okay stuff, but I can't quite get into it because there's no reason
I
in
mean,
particular.
there's no reason.
It is the art style, but
You could argue that like, the stories for those shows are basically meant for like kids under like
yeah,
before sixth grade,
but
basically.
like in but yeah, but like I did like I watched the first 35 or so episodes of Steven Universe and I was enjoying it, but I felt like the show got really out of its depth after a while
Well,
because
it started off as like some harmless show where there wasn't really a storyline
I mean like
or a plot, and then
there were like hints of an interesting storyline by those like first 35 episodes, but
yeah,
when
and
you
then it
got
started and it got like super deep,
and when
and
you and
It got the red versus blue treatment.
I don't think the
yeah,
writing is good enough to make the being deep part convincing.
I mean, and yeah, that, and at the same time, it's also a Cartoon Network show, and it's, I mean, at least 75% of the viewers are going to be
It
young kids.
it doesn't help that like Cartoon Network has been like
I'm gonna
completely
be right
fucking
back.
up
Hold
its
on.
release schedule for everything.
Oh, what do you know what?
Um, okay, he's gone for a second. I don't want this to just be dead air for a bit. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, talking about their schedule being messed
yeah,
up. Jesus Christ.
yeah. The that there's not a whole lot to like go into in depth there without bringing up stuff that I'm not terribly interested in talking about. Uh,
Yeah.
other stuff that
See, this
happened.
is why we need an actual topic to start with.
Yeah, this was supposed to be kind of a meet the team thing because I don't know what we're all like capable of carrying a conversation for an hour about.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the topic.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, like we're going like I was thinking about doing something with anime, but then I realized I don't have a lot of anime I have a ton to say about, if I'm being real. Like
Yeah, I mean, there's certain shows, I guess, that I could get into depending on what we're talking about.
I
Um,
I haven't really watched anything since I watched Kobayashi back in like April, and that was only because I was sick and I wasn't going to be going anywhere.
I don't
Uh,
know. I haven't really been able to watch a whole lot lately
like
because of school and
I,
work. So
I get into like so much crap. It's hard to like. It's very like I'll like get into something and then I'll fall like head over heels in love with it, but it's very hard to get to like push me to just take the initiative and go watch something I've been meaning to watch forever. And then
yeah,
I'll do it and I realize I love it, but like that's not going to teach me the lesson. And it's the same with pretty much everything. I got into like a lot of the music I got into, and I'm a big music buff, is stuff that I used to say wasn't for me. It's in genres I used to say wasn't for me. I wasn't aware that specific artists existed.
Yeah, I'm the same way, so I understand that. Like, there's certain stuff that I'll listen to a lot when I first find out about it, and then it like just kind of dies off. It's like,
And like,
it's not
yeah,
that actually that great anymore.
I'll get like I got like okay, last March I got huge into a band called Coheed and Cambria,
Okay.
and I like love their stuff. I listened to their first two albums on like this dimly lit plane in the middle of the night traveling to Florida, and that was pretty much the perfect atmosphere for those two albums.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell in love with the band's first four albums. Later on, I got into the fifth, sixth, and seventh. I always hated the eighth, but I now I go back to them and it's like, okay, this is cool, but it's more background noise. It doesn't hit. It's not the same kind of gut punch. I kind of overplayed it to myself.
Yeah. It's the one instance where I can keep listening to it and it'll stay good is the album Discovery by Daft Punk. Like,
Uh,
that's
Daft Punk is on that list of things I need to get into eventually.
yeah. Well, like, it was the same way for me because I never really listened to them. The only time I had ever even heard them was from the Tron Legacy soundtrack. Um, and then I found out about Discovery and I started listening to it. I was like, hey, this is pretty good.
I am.
Um,
I follow like this small group of like YouTube music critics, and I get a lot of recommendations and stuff from there. I got recommended Coheed and Cambria because the one of the anime guy Digibro made like a video on his After Dark channel, which is just an hour and a half career retrospective of this band he liked as a teenager, and he played a lot of clips from the music, and I'm like, okay, this sounds awesome. So I listened to it on a plane ride that night, and
I'm back. You know,
nice.
I hate how my mom decided to like clean out the entire house on like a Sunday afternoon instead of a day where we're actually working.
Yeah, I my house has been in various states of disrepair for the past while. It's only going to be about a week longer that it's like this,
Uh,
but back in June, a big storm rolled through. Nothing like the hurricanes or anything, but like storm enough that we were like it was able to knock off some of the roofing like right above my room.
uh,
And so water started pouring in, and ever since then we've been like replacing the carpet. We've been painting a bunch of the walls over. I need to go out and buy furniture tomorrow or maybe today, depending on how long this goes.
yeah. I died better because I keep like running out of air, like just like going up the stairs or some crap.
I've yeah, I've been there. Because I tend to go really fast up the stairs to the point where sometimes I'm like on all fours to increase my speed for some
Yeah,
reason.
I know. Hmm. Do you ever like start thinking about a bunch of stuff, like thinking about like a conversation or something, like you start mouthing it, and then
Um,
you don't realize it, and then other people are looking like you at you like you're a psychopath or something?
I have a huge problem with like how extensive my outer monologue is. Like it annoys my parents how much I'll like mumble at them.
Mm.
Also, a thing I used to do is I would be watching videos and I would instead of commenting my response, I would pause them and talk it out to myself. Like
Why? I mean, I guess that's
I
interesting.
I don't know. I don't know. It was back when I like wasn't super keen on having videos playing in the background, so I would literally have like my tablet on speaker with the video I was playing. I was listening to while I played games. I didn't know much about tech at the time.
Uh, so you plan on being a music critic when you grow up?
That's not the market. The market there is not huge, and like of course there are people that can do it, and I'm hoping that that market opens up a little bit by that time. That like the idea of Patreon isn't so weird to most people like it is now. But if that's not viable, I have like other career paths I'm moving into. I'm definitely gonna try and complete college. Like,
Yeah, that's good. I'm trying to like be a writer and all that. I want to be like video game director and all that. Making the ideas and all that.
yeah, uh, it's I don't know. I used to be into that idea, but then I realized that all of my
Yeah.
ideas were a little bit too. All of my ideas were like I realized two things. One, I hate coding, and I'm like, you can't just become a director. You need to learn how to do that stuff and work out.
Yeah.
But then I realized the second thing, and that's that all of my game ideas were like super derivative of other game plots and stuff I'd played.
Best thing about that you want to do is play a lot of video games, and then you'll be so inspired. You'll just combine all that together to make something that looks somewhat original.
Yeah, like the thing about that is that like all of like I think about that, then I realized that the original version of all those ideas was kind of my perfect version of those ideas. So
Yeah, I want to do that. But I kind of had the same thing. But then again, you go to the argument that like technically nowadays nothing is creative anymore.
yeah, everything's a reference.
Is that a JoJo reference?
Smoke one.
Yeah, like before I discovered what Metal Gear was, like I thought of this game that I wanted to make, and then I played, and it was like perfect. And then I played Metal Gear. It was like, well, this is it. This is the game. I can't do that anymore.
I've had that. I've had that experience with like I don't think it was a video game. I feel like it was
Like a movie or
I think
something?
it was like a general idea for some. It was like a general idea for something. It might have been like a book or something. I don't, but I okay, to talk about Metal Gear for a second, I'm gonna like of the like classic stealth games. I prefer Thief. I prefer Splinter Cell. I prefer Hitman. If you want to count that,
Yeah, I can agree with you. Or the gameplay and maybe like definitely the controls of Metal Gear aren't the greatest.
yeah. I mean, in the story, the thing about Kojima, he like
Directed by.
yeah, I've seen this. God, I now I'm remembering I watched a Razor Fist video earlier today where like it was about the Game Awards and how Kojima got an award for being Geoff Keighley's friend.
That's amazing.
But and I'm trying to like phrase my complaints about it, but I like the eclectic boss cast idea. That's kind of the niche. That's the niche it does fill for me. I like the
The
sort
whole
of I like
like
the
varied bosses with
yeah
like different ideals and all that.
yeah, but I like the whole idea of like Dead Cell or the Cobra unit.
Out of the four main games, which game was the best at least? You think?
3.
Yeah, that's the usual response. I'm mixed between 3 or 4.
I did like 4 a lot. I did like 4 a lot. 4 I never finished because I think my disc had like a scratch on it or something. But like I did like end up watching the
No, that
rest
was
of
actually
it.
just Kojima breaking the fourth wall.
No, it was like I know the fourth wall break. I know the fourth wall breaks that happen because I saw Let's Play later, and it was just like the screen dies and the console turns off. But
If you want to talk about fourth wall breaks, in the most recent one, Phantom Pain,
Oh yeah.
if you
Phantom
play
Block.
Ground Zero,
Oh,
you
I
can get
only got the Phantom Pain, but you go on.
you can get Kojima as like a developer. and R&D development, like
I'm so
research
psyched
and
for the
development, is
background
the only thing he's good at.
noise.
Yeah, like I know, like when he was VP of Konami, those were the 3 least profitable years in the company's history.
Do you think Kojima is overrated? Like people give him more praise than
I feel like even
like
if I
he
thought he
deserves.
was great, I feel like even if I thought he was great, I could still feasibly think he's overrated at this.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Fucking god, like the people in the background call like.
I apologize for that greatly.
Yeah, it's fine. Like for now, eventually, I'm gonna be a little bit more annoyed by that, but I think it's fine right now. Like
Yeah.
for
There's
the first.
a setting where you can cancel out background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Push to
probably
talk.
do. I could probably do that in Audacity. Like a little bit later, I can clean this up a bit.
Well, I'm talking about like for his audio. Like you can go into your Discord settings and it's there. Like you can cancel out your own background noise.
Well, everything on advanced is on, and the only thing that isn't on is push to talk, which I would do, but I want to do other stuff while on the podcast.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to Kojima, like that bit, and I haven't played the Phantom Pain. I feel I've heard a lot of things about it. It seems a little bit like it's brought down by like kitchen sink game design, where he's just trying to.
Oh yeah. I definitely agree, especially like the repeated missions near the end of the game.
Yeah, I like Razor Fist took to calling it the Phantom Plot.
Okay.
Like, do you feel like the game was necessary in the first place? Like, like did we really need this game to explain the story?
I thought like for all like that I don't like about each entry. I feel like 4 was a really good like send off, and Revengeance was like the bonus episode. So
Yeah. I don't know why Peace Walker was made. Peace Walker was good, but also unnecessary.
yeah, I even though Rising is incredibly silly and not the best gameplay wise, I do have a soft spot for it.
Yeah. Thing about Rising is that unlike Devil May Cry, where it has like very like consistent combos, like for Rising, you're just gonna like spam the like heavy and have like the attacks basically, and like most of the like your damage output instead of it being combos mostly just comes from just upgrading your weapons to like just overpower everything.
Yeah,
Which I felt like was like a really bad idea because like as great as they are with their music and everything, they're kind of just ruined by the fact that you can just like kill them in like 3 minutes.
yeah. The big twist with like what Armstrong's goals actually were, I feel like was kind of self-defeating. Like with the
Really,
points it was trying to make.
really.
Because for one, I feel like that makes him a very Metal Gear villain at that point. It makes him a okay, I'm talking complete nonsense now. I'm going to try and refocus kind of what I'm trying to say for a second.
You ever notice how like the plot to Metal Gear Solid 2 was very similar to Metal Gear Rising?
Yeah. The thing about Metal Gear Solid 2's plot is that what the future that Solidus feared is the future we're living in slowly.
I mean, that's pretty much Metal Gear.
Yeah. Solid 2 it probably actually of the boss rosters, not in terms of how good they were to fight, but just in terms of personalities. I liked 1 and 2 the least because they didn't have a. I like I like the 1 and 2 boss rosters the least because they didn't have a thematic through line. Like I like 3's the most because it's these kind of weird characters that are all a spin and like a central idea, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, like how like the what was the group called in 3?
The Cobra unit.
I remember who they are. Oh yeah, the Cobra unit. They're all based off like the emotions a soldier feels in battle.
Yeah.
And then the 4, Wait, the thing 4, like
Four,
the bosses in 4 didn't have any ideologies, but it made sense because
yeah,
now
they
you're in a
were
world where
they were all meant,
PMCs, where there are no ideals. It's just like private military companies fighting without a cause, mostly for like money or oil.
and their names were all derivatives of Liquid Snake's original crew.
Yeah.
Like,
That was also a really nice touch.
and they also were like they were a very like strange. It was a very like strange moment encountering these kind of these kind of like these people who like can barely like keep control of themselves long enough to fight you. That was a very like different sort of fight.
Hmm.
Anyway, I do kind of unless anyone has anything else to add, in which case
Um, the final boss in Metal Gear Solid 4 was also really cool. I feel like that's how you end off. That's how you make a final boss.
it would have made a
Um,
really it would have made a really awesome like it's really awesome in terms of a cutscene. I'm not sure if it's particularly compelling boss gameplay.
you know what? Probably unpopular opinion. That final cutscene with Big Boss not necessary. Like we did not need that.
I can
Like if it just ended at like Snake killing himself, then yeah, that would have been like a bit of a bitter but like appropriate ending.
I can see where you're coming from there. Uh,
Don't get me wrong, the cutscene with Big Boss is great, but like it kind of just felt like forced fan service,
yeah,
especially considering that like how do you survive getting burned alive? You know.
yeah. I am gonna say I don't think any of the Metal Gear Solid games are bad. They're not my favorite stealth. They're not my favorite stealth games. I prefer for like the espionage atmosphere it's going for. I prefer Splinter Cell. For stealth mechanics, I prefer Thief.
Yeah, I never really played Thief. I
Thief.
started it.
Don't play 4, the new one. Like they're the first 3 are really great, and they have a fucking what's his name? What's the guy who played Garrett in the first 3 games? The voice actor, and he actually played a bunch of the characters. I need to look this up real quick because he's famous. It's Steven Russell is his name, and he's like he like lent his voice to Skyrim and stuff too.
Yeah.
He like because it's really interesting because that like Thief in a way was Steven Russell's game because what he would sometimes do is he'd go into the store, he'd go into like the recording studio, he'd put on his Garrett voice and he'd record some lines he thought sounded cool, and the development team would take those and be like, we need to put this in the game somehow and make entire levels based on that. And like he also like just kind of on a whim did the voice for like the comic relief guards, and that's how they kind of based how good or bad the AI would be. Just weird stuff, just interesting stuff like that.
Yeah, well, with like an instance of needing to fix AI and whatnot, like a lot of the Elder Scrolls games and Bethesda games in general, like half the NPCs all have the same voice and they all have the same lines and whatnot, which I understand. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah, I mean, I
extra
feel
characters in the game that need voices, but you could at least change things up a bit.
yeah, I feel like the if they just had like several stock they did this in most of the games. They didn't do it in Skyrim, which kind of annoys me, but if they had like a team of a dozen voices to do all the minor NPCs and minor quest NPCs and stuff, and then every major character got their own voice instead of having those major character voices then go and do a bunch of the townsmen as well, which is really weird. And also just give these sort of filler NPCs a few like flavor dialogue options each, even if they're just repeats from one another, like they did in Daggerfall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Does anyone else have any like stories from the past even month or so that are worth sharing? Because we're at 40 minutes, I just want to get another 10 to 20 out of this.
I mean, I guess the interesting things with work we can talk about. This.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
you
don't.
guys have jobs or whatnot, but
I don't. I mean, the idea is eventually. Never mind. That's not really something I have to say on. But now I don't have a job. I mean, I've been helping out a bunch around the house the past couple weeks to tear out carpeting and stuff.
gotcha. Well, I guess here's something that happened last week. So I work at this butchery at a grocery store, right? And
Everything was going haywire.
Oh, you good now?
No, you're kind of like cutting in and out.
It's not really showing that at the moment for me. Are you hearing that, Vitalogy? Is my mic messed up?
no, yours is fine.
Uh, is it still a
You
problem?
sound like a robot.
That's what you sound like to me. So
He
I don't know
sounds
if
fine.
it's
He sounds fine to me.
What?
Yeah, I mean, he does have that. He does have that kind of stutter effect. Yeah, like
I think
going
that's
on.
the only thing that I'm hearing.
I can hear. I can hear his voice. Like,
Yeah.
You know what they're getting at? Yeah.
you can try dis and reconnecting again if that doesn't work, then we're.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably just connection or something.
Anyway, just for now, Vitalogy, you can continue, and after that, once
Hey, so
you're,
I got a thing
you're
to
good.
ask you.
You're in. And who are you talking to?
Yeah, I mean your mic is like going in and out. Try like plugging it, unplugging it.
Whose is? I'm not sure.
Is that a little better? Hello?
Oh dear God.
Yeah.
Is this still a problem? I'm not like.
I think it maybe him.
Yeah, it still kind of is a problem.
Okay, I got the recording. Ask that again.
What?
I almost want to like devote an entire different episode to this because I could spend a long time defending it.
Uh-oh.
Ask the question again because I had the recording paused while you figured out your mic.
I think he's still figuring it out. So why is Dark Souls 2 a good game?
Yeah, he doesn't like Dark Souls 2. I defend it.
Gotcha.
Like I haven't played that much Souls, but I do like do a lot of research into it. But I have played some of all the games, and I want to play more. I just haven't found the time to just sit down and do it.
Oh, come on.
Are you still having trouble? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it
your
is.
mic is just going in and out.
huh? Try mute and unmute.
Gotcha.
I don't know that that does anything whatsoever. I'm literally just throwing stuff out there.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, ask me a question again.
What?
The recording was paused while we figured that out. What's the question?
What's the question you asked
Yeah.
about a certain game? Yeah,
About
we may have to cut all this out.
it's not a big deal. I mean, plenty of podcasts have filler like this, but ask me about Dark Souls 2 again is what I'm.
Yeah, it's got to be a connection problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I can.
Personally, like I found Dark Souls 2 just to be like really slow, and the gameplay was just like it felt like they like purposely made it harder for the sake of being hard instead of like being a fair challenge.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Are you still using lock on frequently in that game?
What?
Are you still using lock on frequently in that game?
I'm sorry, your mic is breaking up again. I'm so sorry.
Oh my fucking god. Okay. Is okay. I'm talking like directly into it. The input has been. I'm going to turn up the input even more, even though this is going to be super loud in the recording. But okay, the question I want to ask is: during your playthrough of Dark Souls 2, were you still using lock on often?
Yeah. Let me guess.
There
You're
are
gonna
a
do the
lot.
whole. You're gonna do the whole thing
There,
like, oh, you weren't supposed to lock on.
there are a lot of moments in Dark Souls 2 where it's better not to lock on, so you can have better awareness of your environment.
That's
In a
understandable,
lot
but I
of
felt
the
like, well, like it wasn't like me hitting. It was more just me rolling. Like sometimes I either roll and then like
you
what happens, like the attack happens right behind me, but I still took damage.
Dark Souls 2 gives you a lot of opportunities to use the environment around you for crowd control. And I feel like that's kind of
also like the ganks were like really bad. Like on Dark Souls 1, like you could at least like control it. Like you if you put like good crowd control, you could get it. But it feels like, and what's worse is that when you're just trying to get to a boss and like 85,000 enemies just pile up on you, it kind of just makes it harder to get to the boss than it is the actual boss.
yeah, I mean, I felt the exact same way about Dark Souls 1 because when I was going to bosses, I felt like I could get so far and I would be right in front of the boss and I would realize that okay, someone's mic is shooting up. I could get so far and I would realize that
Your mic's acting up again.
fucking hell. I'm gonna try.
Wait, hold on. Are you using like your headphone mic?
I'm using like this crappy piece of Realtek, whatever. It's bound up in electric tape. It's garbage.
Audio sounds fine.
But
Hold on, give me a second.
just hell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and keep talking.
Oh, like say like a full sentence.
I'm okay. This is a full sentence. I don't know what to do. I don't know what better to do.
I'm not getting anything.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Ted, back on track.
What's up?
So, how about that background noise, huh? That
Oh
was
yeah.
that was a good time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it was paused. Don't worry, the world's not going to know. But okay, so I was talking about, I was saying that in Dark Souls 1, I think the issue you mentioned is just as bad. And is it bad again, or?
Well, it's okay. You're not cutting off like.
Yeah, it's just that I'm on a phone now, and the phone is worse. But
Okay.
I think the issue was just as bad because you had I could get to like the door before a boss, and I could realize I don't have enough Estus Flask to possibly kill it this time, and that sucked. And that happens in Dark Souls 2. It happens less because of health gems. I think that Bloodborne did it pretty much perfectly in that
Wait, you
regard.
thought the blood vial system in Bloodborne was good?
Yes, I did actually.
Really? I felt like I was spending more blood soul echoes on blood vials and leveling up.
I like the blood vial system because since they dropped off enemies with some frequency, I never felt like I could get up to a boss and not have enough healing items. Also, they were quick, which was nice.
All right.
I don't really know where else to go. With that. I can do like a more in-depth defense of it and like why I like the approach it took with the story and stuff. But
Again, the whole story, lore, and all that, like that's fine. I'm fine with Dark Souls 2 lore and story. I'm focusing like purely on game.
yeah, I mean,
Like I felt like the hitboxes were always off. I felt like they added unnecessary. And oh, by the way, I'm playing Scholar the first sin, by the way.
oh,
And
all right.
yeah, like the enemy placements are just like they felt like they were mouse placed at times.
Repeat that.
And like the way they placed the enemies, like it felt like they were like mouse placed. Like you just started clicking random areas. It felt like that. And
I never felt I felt that way in a couple of places. Like I could also address like
getting to Sir Alon, like that was the most like infuriating thing I've ever felt in gaming.
like I could mention how like I prefer the way it did level design actually because
Really?
Okay, first of all, I love the surrealist aspect of it where like all the terrain is completely impossible. That was pretty cool for me. But
Wait, the what?
like if you try to map out like the way Dark Souls 1's world and the style of how Dark Souls 2's world, I mean, in the style of how people did Dark Souls 1, like you'd find that like it's just impossible to do. Areas are just in the same place. And that's like there's kind of a cool like surrealist element to that. Also, I do prefer the style of it's more linear and you can teleport around because I felt.
Oh yeah. Like out of the three, Dark Souls 3 is definitely my favorite one
because the whole connecting world thing in 1 was cool, but it led to problems like them having to neuter Blight Town because they didn't want people getting hit by poison darts on the way back through. And that's why Sen's Fortress and Orlando were the best areas.
Yeah, they're also good to just like player like level design, like not level design as in like how to describe it, how the environment basically. Like out of all the games, I want to say like three has good level design, but it doesn't have good looking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls 1 was kind of cool in regards to you could look in any direction and off in the distance you'd see a place you'd go eventually. And 2 had more of a like fantastical, oh my god, what's coming next kind of thing. And I haven't. Bloodborne has my favorite aesthetic, and I haven't played 3 like at all. So.
Well, you haven't played 3?
No.
Really?
I haven't even really
Why?
looked into how it is. Just haven't really found the time. But the last complaint that I like kind of address about Dark Souls 2 is like the dudes in armor thing.
That's understandable. I'm fine with like big dudes in armor. I just want good hitboxes while fighting.
Yeah. People complain that there's like so many of those in the game, which I have to say that like I don't think Soulsborne would ever really figure out how to do good big monster fights until Bloodborne.
Yeah, but I didn't really like the big monster. I like it's just personal preference, but like I don't like big monster fights as a whole.
So like we look at like Great Wolf Sif, and it's like she doesn't really react to any of your sword swings, and even when she starts like limping, it doesn't feel like something you did. It doesn't feel like it happened because you hit her. Like
yeah. Feels like you're just hitting a giant.
How about the one you swing? No kind.
I think that we can probably wrap up here for now.
Oh, okay. It's because of the background noise.
Put this one without attaching that.
It's because I don't really have anywhere to go, and we are coming up on the hour,
So we should like come up with like if you're ever doing this again, we should come up with like notes to talk about.
I'm gonna like.
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
should
make,
come up with like a list of topics.
Yeah, I am gonna do that in the future. This was more kind of to see if we had natural chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like we do have a lot to talk about. So.
Barely mentioned iFunny in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really the point, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
The-
that's how we met. So I mean, yeah, I see.
If anyone ever even paid attention
like.
to this to listen to it,
Yeah.
it's not like people would care about iFunny.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like.
That is true. Like iFunny, as big as it may seem in our lives, it's actually not that big in like.
It seems less and less big in my life.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It always felt like it was like a. I would say like it was at least like a good like.
Yeah, it's
5% of my life.
It's something I drift to fairly often. I'm gonna end the recording, and so, but I don't think anyone has any special farewells they want to give. But
Yeah, that's about it.
I'm gonna sign us off in 3, 2. Fuck all you.
Oh, so